With inflation making a dollar lose its value year over year, sometimes it can feel like you're running on a treadmill to save money. But saving money during inflation isn't about extreme couponing or cutting everything out of your life. Sometimes it's easier than we might think. Today, I'm going to share 6 pretty easy ways to save money even when the cost of everything is rising higher and higher. Implementing these strategic lifestyle habits is part of what has allowed me to quit my job last year and focus on making a living outside of a corporate job. If you're new here, I'm Carly, and I create videos on financial literacy and consumerism. So if you're interested in those types of videos, go ahead and subscribe and ring that notification bell. Almost every city has a library, and libraries are one of the few indoor third spaces left where there is zero pressure to spend money. There are so many resources at the library. More established libraries have workshops, community clubs, tool lending programs even, and also seed libraries for gardening. I have also seen tax preparation assistants at my local library during tax season as well. I use my library on a monthly, if not weekly basis. I love using my library to put specific books and ebooks on hold. Anytime I go to pick up my books, I feel like I'm picking up an online order. I'll also use my library card for free museum passes, which many city library systems might offer as well. When I take advantage of these resources, I can easily save $15 to $100 per month on entertainment, education, or any other services I would have otherwise needed to pay for. The average household has $3,000 of unused items. This was as of 2007, and I'd be curious to know what that figure is close to 20 years later. And I would also bet it's higher. In recent years, I've started selling items I don't really use, maybe every 6 months, and I'll just take a look at my closet and cupboard and think about what I haven't really used in the last year. If I haven't touched something for months, I probably won't use it regularly in the future. I also like to sell things seasonally because certain items sell better or generate more interest during specific seasons. So for example, winter items I'll start listing in December or January, and summer items I'll list in the spring. Furthermore, when I list my items online, I'm usually not desperate to get rid of them, since the alternative is just the status quo, which is having them sit in my cupboard or closet. I can just leave the listing up and let it marinate until someone who is looking for that specific thing comes across it. It's like a virtual garage sale, and some things I list not expecting anyone to want it, but I get surprised at how popular it is. And it just goes to show what one person can't use, someone else probably can. When I list items, I often look on Facebook Marketplace to see what the market rate for the item is. And I take good photos of it and I just list it. Listing one item usually takes no more than 5 minutes. Then when someone's interested, I just coordinate a pickup that is convenient for both of us. I love buying and selling items on a secondhand marketplace. I feel like there's more character in these eclectic items, and when I sell my things, not only does it feel good to give my items a second life, I get to make a bit of spending money. And while I'm at it, someone else who needs it gets the item at a huge discount, and I get to clear out my space. Win-win. Tax-advantaged accounts like a 401k or a traditional IRA or HSA or FSA are great savings strategies for money that you don't immediately need. With these specific retirement accounts, not only do you lower your taxable income for the year, meaning you straight up pay fewer taxes, but if you work a corporate job, some employers also match contributions to a 401k, HSA, or FSA. And that's free money that grows either tax-free or tax-deferred depending on the account. Flexible spending accounts are for more immediate expenses, as you're only able to roll over a few $100s a year. But there are so many items that are FSA eligible, like sunscreen, allergy medication, lip balm, menstrual products, and you're getting a discount that is equal to your tax rate when you use FSA money to buy these often repurchased items. HSA or health savings accounts give more freedom. Since contributions are tax deductible, the money grows tax-free, and withdrawals for medical expenses are also tax-free. Since many of us go to multiple doctor's appointments every year, at the very least for maintenance, it's nice to have a dedicated savings account to expenses we know we will probably inevitably incur. Through these accounts, depending on how you invest, you can take advantage of the power of compound growth to help your money outpace inflation over time. That's simply if you invest in index funds that track common big bucket ETFs like the total stock market or the S&P 500, both of which have had around 10% annualized returns over the last 10 years. That certainly beats the rate of inflation, which has fluctuated anywhere from between roughly 3 to 7%. Investing expands beyond investing in the stock market. to also investing in the items that you buy. That includes buying high quality items that will last for decades of use, which ultimately drives your cost per use down, which also then eliminates the need to buy a new item every 10 years. Also, because if you have invested in a higher quality item, if you ever choose to sell it, you could probably recoup a good amount of your costs as well. High quality items also often make repairing the item easier and cheaper than buying a new one. And one perfect example of this are shoes. High quality shoes are much easier to resole, and resoling is often cheaper than buying a new one. The lesser made shoes are often impossible to resole just because of the way that they're made, which means that over time, you'll probably spend more money buying new but low quality shoes than if you bought a well-made shoe that you could resole every 2 to 5 years. I have often resold my Birkenstocks and my boots. Strategic spending might also include investing in courses that will level up your skills so that the cost of your labor will be more valuable in the marketplace. Or completely separately, even bulk buying things on sale that you know you will need and you will use up. I like to check in with myself before I make a big purchase, what the cost per use of the item will look like. When I decide to stop using it, how easy is it to sell? That's just another factor I consider when I decide whether a purchase is really one that makes sense for me. Most people think if their account balance doesn't go down, they're not losing money. But that's not always the case. If your savings is not growing at least at the rate of inflation, it's losing its value by the percentage rate of inflation. So if you kept $100 in a box in 2020 and wanted to spend it today at a conservative inflation rate of 3.5% over the last 5 years, and really it's fluctuated up and down quite a bit, from 3 to 7%, as I mentioned. That $100 now has the buying power of $84.20. It's essentially lost around $15 of buying power over 5 years. So by putting your accessible cash, like your emergency fund, in a high yield savings account, you are ensuring your money at least close to holds its value, which then saves you money. Traditional savings accounts have an interest rate of 0.01% to 0.05%, while most high-yield savings accounts have an interest rate of anywhere from 3 to 5%. And that interest rate also fluctuates with the Federal Reserve interest rates. It's true that sometimes the high-yield savings account rates don't fully beat current inflation rates, but it significantly reduces the purchasing power loss, and it still provides very liquid access, unlike bonds or investments that might lose value short term or just are not as easily accessible if you need the money tomorrow. If you have any sum of money, like an emergency fund, a short-term savings goal that you're accumulating money for, any extra cash can be parked in a high-yield savings account. This is probably the most bang for your buck savings hack. I often overlook the fact that simply being prepared can save me a lot of money. But that's because being prepared and having some forethought has become a lifestyle. For example, having pre-prepped nutritious meals at home significantly lowers the chances I'll have a situation where I come home after a long day completely famished and end up ordering takeout. That easily saves $80 a month. The meal prep simply requires me to do a bit of thinking and prep earlier on in the week to get everything I need from the grocery store. And over time, it's not become so much effort because planning my meals has become a habit. Outside of meals, even properly preparing everything I need for a trip lowers the chances that I'll need to buy anything extraneous while traveling that I wouldn't have otherwise purchased. On a daily basis, I often bring water and a snack everywhere I go because that means instead of mindlessly spending money on drinks and snacks when I get hungry, I can choose to buy other things that I'm actually excited to spend money on and to consume. Sometimes preparation is also anticipating a need and buying things well in advance. For example, flight tickets to take advantage of favorable pricing, or maybe it's even buying certain clothes at the end of a season for a seasonal discount. Preparation allows us to buy things on our terms and not be rushed into making panic purchases. Saving money during inflation comes down to 5 key strategies. First, tap into free resources you're already paying for through taxes. Your library offers everything from entertainment to job training that could easily save you $100 monthly. Turn your unused things into cash while buying what you need secondhand. And that double dips your savings by earning money on items you don't use and also spending less money on things that you do need. Maximize tax advantage accounts like 401ks, HSAs, and FSAs. And these ultimately reduce your tax bill while your money grows, essentially giving you a guaranteed return equal to your tax rate. Also consider timing your purchases around sales cycles rather than buying when you need something. And this single shift can save 15 to 50% on major purchases. Finally, move your emergency fund to a high yield savings account. Those typically earn 4 to 5% instead of letting it lose purchasing power in a checking or a traditional savings account. And overall, these aren't complex strategies. They're simple system changes that compound over time, and a lot of them remove the need for you to consistently battle inflation by saving every penny. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you can't tell, I'm quite against saving money at all costs. If you're interested in hearing more, I made a video on why I will never do a no buy challenge, and you can find that here.